A very good morning and welcome back to the course of microengineering. We recall from our previous lecture that we have completed session up to the traveling wave tube amplifier, and in the previous lecture we started studying the first type of cross field tube, that is a magnetron. So last time we saw the construction and working of a magnetron tube, which qualified for the first time as a cross field device. So in this lecture, we will go further and study the remaining types of tube which, which are based on cross field mechanism, and some of them are based on linear beam mechanism. Actually, the remaining tubes that today we are going to discuss theoretically, more or less they are hybrid tubes in operation. The hybrid means these tubes which we are going to see today are hybridized combination of earlier primary tubes. So the primary tubes we can consider as a klystron, traveling wave tube and magnetron. So the main important and basic configuration of a microwave tubes, which can be classified into linear type and cross field types, are the klystrons and traveling wave tubes are generally classified as a primitive type of linear beam tubes. And the primitive type of cross field tube, the very much best example is the magnetron. So the other remaining microwave tubes that we are going to see, these are more or less based on the combination of the earlier primitive microwave tubes. So in today's session, theoretically, we are going to study cross field amplifier. Again, the name indicates that it is going to make use of crossed field for the amplification operation of the microwave signal. And later on, we will see the special type of oscillator which makes use of hybrid combination of a traveling wave tube, and we call that oscillator as a backward wave oscillator. And finally, we will see altogether a very new kind of a microwave tube, which is altogether different from either linear beam tube or cross field tube, because the principle of operation is very different from the velocity modulation process which we saw in earlier all tubes. So such a tube we are going to see towards the end of today's discussion, and that is gyrotron or gyrotron. So let us go one by one and study these hybrid tubes, which are based on the combination of earlier primitive microwave tubes. So first of all, let us discuss the crossed field tube amplifier. Now here already the notes are available, and this is the discussion and the theory for cross field amplifier. The cross field amplifier tube is sometimes also known as crossed forward wave traveling field amplifier. Okay, so cross field amplifier is also known as a forward wave cross field amplifier tube. It is again a kind of a tube, right? And this particular tube is going to make use of, as the name itself indicate, it makes use of two perpendicularly oriented fields, right? So here the cross field amplifier, essentially this particular tube is utilized as an amplification of the microwave. In earlier primitive type of tube, we saw traveling wave tube as an amplifier. This is also another type of a microwave amplifier, but here instead of using a linear beam, which we utilized in the case of a traveling wave tube, we are going to utilize two different fields which are oriented perpendicular to each other. So that's why these are called as a crossed field amplifier, or simply CFA, right? So the cross field amplifier, it is a specialized vacuum tube, and it was first introduced in 1950, and it is frequently used as a microwave amplifier in a very high power transmitters. So the basic use of cross field amplifier tube is to be utilized in high power transmitter for the amplification of the microwave signal. The cross field amplifier has a lower gain and bandwidth, right? So this particular property is very important over here. As discussed here, the cross field amplifier is supposed to have lower gain and bandwidth product. Okay, and as we saw the operation of traveling wave tube, we saw that the bandwidth, amplification bandwidth of the traveling wave tube which is provided is fairly enough high. So cross field amplifier is going to provide lower gain values, as well as the gain which is provided by cross field amplifier is over the limited bandwidth. Okay, so the gain and bandwidth which are provided by the cross field amplifier is lesser than that of the other primitive type of tubes like klystrons and traveling wave tube, right? But here the only advantage of using the cross field amplifier is it is capable of producing much higher output power compared to 2 cavity klystron amplifier and traveling wave tube. So this is the significant advantage of cross field amplifier over 2 cavity klystron amplifier and traveling wave tube amplifier. Only the thing over here is the gain provided and the bandwidth achieved in the amplification operation using cross field amplifier are low when it is compared to primitive microwave tubes like amplifiers, traveling wave tube and 2 cavity klystron. The biggest advantage that the cross field amplifier is going to give us that it will produce much higher output power in comparison to 2 cavity klystron and traveling wave tube. The peak output power as provided by cross field amplifier, it ranges from many milliwatts to average power level of kilowatt with efficiency in the excess of 70%, right? So here if you see this particular value of efficiency, it is around 70%. So this is the unique microwave tube in which the operation efficiency we are getting around 70%. So if you compare all the previously studied primitive type of a microwave tubes, you will notice that none of those primitive microwave tubes are going to provide efficiency greater than 50%, right? So this is the unique tube which will provide higher output power. As it provides higher output power, the efficiency of cross field tube is higher compared to primitive tubes, right? The cross field amplifier is widely used in ground station television receive only broadcasting stations. Okay, so typically where we use this cross field amplifier, these are utilized in television receive only broadcasting stations, and also they are used in deep space communication networks, right? So the cross field amplifier is known with different names. So there are other names to this particular tube. So what are the other names to this cross field amplifier? This cross field amplifier tube is also known with other names like amplitron or stabilotron. Okay, so please remember, don't get confused. Sometimes the cross field amplifiers are also termed as an amplitron or stabilotron. So one at the same. Now let us see how this cross field amplifier will look like. So on my left hand side over here, the working block diagram of cross field amplifier is shown. Now here we have two vents. One is the input vent through which the micro signal is passed, which we want to amplify, and the other vent through which we are going to take out the amplified micro signal, right? So in between the input port and output port, there is a insulating RF absorber is placed in order to isolate the input signal from the amplified output signal. Okay, so it has a cylindrical shape of cavity, so we can say this is a resemblance of magnetron like cylindrical structure. Okay, so this is a cylindrical structure again. Now if you observe this particular cylindrical structure, it is taking this cylindrical structure from the magnetron, right? So at the center again we have this particular cathode. So this green circle at the center is the cathode. So the cathode is placed at the center and it is surrounded by a cylindrical cavity, right? So in that cylindrical cavity we are going to place a slow wave structure, right? So this red colored coil, whatever you see over here, is going to act as a slow wave structure. Okay, so if you compare the construction of cross field amplifier, you can feel that it is a combination of magnetron and traveling wave tube, right? So where magnetron is a cross field device and traveling wave tube is the linear beam device. So a hybrid combination of a traveling wave tube with magnetron can produce cross-field amplifier. So a slow wave structure, as this particular tube is utilizing, that means it is inheriting the feature of traveling wave tube. So in traveling wave tube also we are utilizing a slow wave structure. So the cross field amplifier device or amplitron is a hybrid combination of traveling wave tube, as it makes use of a slow wave structure, and it also inherits some of the constructional properties from the magnetron. We saw in the case of a magnetron, we have the cylindrical anode. At the center, we place the cathode, right? So the construction wise, the cross field amplifier, we can say that it is a hybrid combination constructed using the traveling wave tube amplifier, taking its slow wave structure and taking the cylindrical geometry of the magnetron, right? So here this slow wave structure is spirally placed along the periphery of the outer cylinder, okay, and at the center we have this cathode, right? So here the cathode and the outer cylinder are supplied with electrical potential. So here it is not shown, but the diagram will be the cathode is supplied with a negative potential in this way, the same way in which we applied the potential in the construction of magnetron, right? So the outer body is connected to positive potential and the negative DC potential is connected to cathode. And then the cathode will start emitting these electrons, and these electrons will then interfere with this slow wave structure over here, and some sort of a velocity modulation process will happen over here, right? So when the electrons are going to interact with the slow wave structure, at that time we are going to pass the RF input signal for the amplification. Okay, so the RF signal which we send over this cylindrical shape over the slow wave structure, when it comes out from the output port, it will be observed that the micro signal is amplified in nature. Okay, so this is a simple working principle of the cross field amplifier. It is essentially the hybrid combination of traveling wave tube and magnetron as far as construction is concerned. The cross-field amplifier makes use of same type of electric and magnetic field which is used in the case of magnetron oscillator. So this sentence is very important. It makes use of here same type of electric and magnetic field, right, in the which is utilized in the case of magnetron oscillator. Now here the magnetic field is not directly explicitly shown over here, but here remember that magnetic field is oriented always in a perpendicular in the plane of the paper in this way. So we can show in this way. So the electric field and magnetic fields are perpendicular to each other, and this configuration looks same as that of the construction of magnetron, right? However, the magnetron is working as an oscillator, right? So the difference is the construction wise it looks like a magnetron, but magnetron is working as an oscillator, while the cross field tube is essentially acting as an amplifier, right? So the green colored electrode placed at the center is applied with a large negative voltage, and large magnetic field is oriented perpendicular to the page. So it is as good as the green color circle, whatever you observe in the left hand side diagram, it is as good as acting as a cathode, right? So this application of fields, okay, so the perpendicular magnetic field, it is shown over here. Electric field is already existing between the cathode and the outer cylinder, as shown over here. The DC voltage electric is denoted by V0, right? So this application of two fields are going to form a spinning disk of electron. So what will happen is when we introduce the RF signal based on the behavior of the microwave signal, the electron bunching and the velocity modulation will take place over the slow wave structure, and it will form a thin spinning disk of electrons. So over here it will form a thin spinning disk of electrons with a flow pattern like spinning water as it drains from the sink. So here how the spinning will take place, the electrons will start spinning in this way, right? So if you observe this purple color arrow that I am showing, it will form a spinning structure of an electron. Electron will start spinning in this particular way. Okay, so it will generate a pattern like a spinning water which is draining from a particular sink. The flow wave structure is located above and below of this spinning disk of the electrons. Now this slow wave structure reduces the velocity of input RF signal to match the electron velocity. So essentially here the use of slow wave structure is to reduce the spinning velocity of these electrons. Okay, and what is the basic purpose of utilizing a slow wave structure that we saw in the case of traveling wave tube? The purpose of using the slow wave structure, the name itself indicates that, is to slow down the propagation speed of the electrons. And if we are able to do so, the electrons can be bunched together and later on they can be brought at the output port, and the energy from these bunch of electron will get then transferred to the micro signal, and the micro signal will appear to be amplified when it is taken from the output port. The RF input which is introduced into the slow wave structure, this micro field, see the micro signal which we want to amplify is given through the RF input port. As the micro field causes the electron to alternately speed up and speed down. So essentially here again the same process is taking place, slowing up and slowing down of the electron propagation speed. This process we already know, and this we know as a velocity modulation. Okay, so here in this particular tube we are utilizing a feature of a traveling wave tube, that is we are utilizing the slow wave structure, and we are utilizing the combination of electric and magnetic field which are oriented perpendicular to each other, as in the case of a magnetron. So just we are taking some feature of a magnetron and some feature of the traveling wave tube, and we are combining them together in order to develop a new hybrid type of tube which will be better in the performance, in the way that it is going to produce much higher output in comparison to the magnetron, okay, and to the comparison to the traveling wave tube. But please remember, magnetron is essentially used as an oscillator, but here this particular hybrid tube will essentially act as an amplifier, right? So the disturbance grows larger as the electron will start circulating in a spiral direction around the device, and electrons will get slowed down as the RF energy grows, and this produces amplification of the micro signal at the output terminal. So this is the simple principle how the cross field amplifier is going to work. Now please remember that cross field amplifier is actually a hybrid combination which is developed by making use of some of the feature of a traveling wave tube and magnetron, right? So here in the below diagram there are certain images which are showing the commercially available cross field amplifier. Okay, so as we already saw, the popular application where the cross field amplifiers are used, those are utilized in a deep space communication networks, as well as they are very popularly used in television receive only stations, right, for the amplification of the microwave signal. So these are some of the diagrams of commercially available cross field amplifiers. Now here you can distinctly see that there are two ports over here. Okay, so here it is a port 1, okay, and here it is a port 2. Either from port 1 or port 2 you can give the micro signal as an input for amplification, and from the other remaining port the micro signal, when you take it out, it will appear amplified in the nature, right? So on the right hand side there is another version of diagram which shows the commercially available cross field amplifier. Okay, so here you see the cables are running over here, cables are running at the two ports. So this is a port number 1 through which the micro signal is entered for the amplification purpose, and from the other port number 2 where the cable is connected, the micro signal is taken out, which is amplified in nature. Okay, so this is the simple construction, block diagram, working principle and application of cross field amplifier. Cross field amplifier is also known as in short term CFA, The other names to cross-field amplifier, it is also known with names like amplitron or stabilotron. Okay, so I hope you understood the construction, working principle and application of this very first hybrid type of microwave tubes, that is cross-field amplifier. Okay, so we go ahead and see another type of hybrid tube, which is again constructed by making use of primitive microwave tubes. Okay, so in our next discussion we'll start with studying the backward wave oscillator. Okay, so the next type of microwave tubes after cross-field amplifier is a backward wave oscillator. The backward wave oscillator, in short, we also call it as a BWO. Okay, so let us see why this backward wave oscillator tube is used and how it is different from the primitive type of microwave tubes. So backward wave oscillator. The backward wave oscillator is also called as a carcinotron or backward wave tube. So please called as a carcinotron. Okay. So please remember, don't get confused. These are some other names which is given to the backward wave oscillator. Okay. So here the name itself indicates that the wave could be traveling in the backward direction. Okay. So this particular microwave tube resembles its operation somewhat similar to a linear beam tube which we saw earlier, and that is traveling wave tube. So construction wise, backward wave oscillator can be similar to the traveling wave tube, and the operation of backward wave oscillator is based on the principle of the operation of traveling wave tube only. Only what could be the change over here, the name itself indicates the backward wave oscillator. In the case of traveling wave tube, we saw that when the electrons gets generated from the cathode, when it forms an electron beam, this electron beam is passed over to the slow wave structure in a forward direction. Okay, and the electrons and the introduced microwave signal will continuously interact over the slow wave structure in order to amplify the microwave signal, right? So essentially that time we saw that the traveling wave tube is always traveling in the forward direction. The axial electric field which will get generated because of the introduction of the microwave signal is in the same direction of the propagation of electrons, right? So here how this particular tube is different in construction compared to traveling wave tube. Essentially it is based on the construction of traveling wave tube. Only the difference over here is in this particular tube the propagation of the wave is taking place from the opposite side, and rather than an amplifier, this particular microwave tube is acting as an oscillator, right? So let us see how. It is a vacuum tube which is used to generate microwaves up to terahertz range. So this is the advantage of using backward wave oscillator. Please remember, by making use of backward wave oscillator, we can generate microwaves up to terahertz level. So terahertz level means 1 terahertz. Okay, I will write 1 THZ. It is nothing but 10 raised to 12 hertz. Okay, so it is far better and more than gigahertz level. So such a 1000 gigahertz are going to make 1 terahertz. So such a several terahertz frequency it can generate. So a very first and significant advantage of using this particular oscillator is that this particular microwave oscillator tube can able to generate microwave signal in the terahertz range, which is far more better than the microwave frequency generated by magnetron and even by the reflectclystron, right? So earlier types of microwave generator tube based we saw reflectclystron and magnetron. So the frequency generated by these tube is only limited to certain gigahertz. But this particular oscillator, backward wave oscillator, is able to generate the frequency in the excessive range of terahertz level, which is far more better and bigger than gigahertz signal, right? So this tube belongs to the family of traveling wave tubes. So this particular sentence is very important. So as it is indicated clearly over here, that this particular tube, it belongs to the family of traveling wave tubes, and it is an oscillator with wide electronic tuning range. This is important. Okay, so the tuning range of backward wave oscillator is very wide. Okay, so this is the another advantage that we are going to get from use of backward wave oscillator. The traveling wave tubes we saw in the case of a traveling wave tube amplifier, it will operate in the same general fashion and only they differ in their primary construction. So how the traveling wave tube amplifier is different from the backward wave oscillator. Still, both belongs to the same family of traveling wave tube. In both of these tube, the wave is in traveling in the nature. Okay, so in the traveling wave tube amplifier, the wave is traveling in the forward direction, and in this particular microwave tube, the wave is traveling in the backward direction. So construction wise, how these are different? Let us see how the construction of typical backward wave oscillator look like. Say here we have an electron gun. So electrons are produced by heating a cathode, which is shown over here. So from here it is a electron gun, starts from the left hand side. Okay, so the source of an electron gun is heating a cathode. The electron gun generates the electron beam that interacts with a slow wave structure. Now here, where is our slow wave structure? So the blue colored spiral shaped coil is nothing but a slow wave structure. Okay, so please remember, this particular microwave tube is also going to make use of slow wave structure. Okay, so whatever you observe, the blue colored coil like tube, so this blue colored coil like tube is nothing but a slow wave structure. When the electron beams get developed, the electrons will start interacting with the slow wave structure, right? The electron beam is directed from the cathode to the collector. The collector is on the right hand side. The structure is going to sustain oscillation by propagating a traveling wave backward against the electron beam as shown below in the figure. So here, how the sustained oscillations are generated? The sustained oscillations are generated by momentarily passing a microwave signal from the output side towards the side of the cathode. That means when we pass a momentarily microwave signal from the output side, so what we do is, initially we will trigger the action of oscillation by introducing momentarily a microwave signal from the output side. This microwave signal is passed in the direction opposite. So this is the direction of a microwave signal from output to input. Okay, and however, how the electrons are flowing? The electrons flowing in this direction from the left hand side to right hand side. This is the electron flow, which I am showing with a purple color. Okay, so these two directions are opposite to each other. The electrons in the electron beam, they are traveling in the forward direction, while the introduced momentarily microwave signal during the initial operation is propagated in the opposite direction, right? So the structure is going to generate oscillation by making use of these oppositely oriented signals as shown in the figure. Okay, so the construction of backward wave oscillator is similar to helical traveling wave tube amplifier. Okay, so essentially the construction of backward wave oscillator. So why this name is backward wave oscillator? Because the momentarily microwave signal which we are going to introduce in order to start the effect of oscillation is traveling in the opposite direction from the backward direction. So that's why the name of this particular tube is given as a backward wave oscillator. Please remember that this particular tube is also called with the other name like carcinotron, right? So here the electron flow is shown with orange color here. Okay, so these are shown in the forward direction, while the signal flowing, the microwave signal flowing, that is shown with a red color, which is opposite to that of the propagation of the electrons. Okay, so the RF signal, the micro signal, it travels in an opposite direction to the direction of beam. Okay, so the effect, see this particular important statement, the effect of this signal on the electron beam causes the velocity modulation effect. Okay, so what happens, this micro signal which we introduce momentarily at the beginning, it will cause the process of velocity modulation with the flow of electron, but the modulation travels backward along the beam instead of a forward direction, right? So this propagation, when it reaches at the input of system, so here at the output, the bunching of electron we get with a sustained oscillation. So the oscillation output we are going to get from this particular port. This is the output port. So from here we can continuously achieve the microwave frequencies, which can be generated up to several values of terahertz, right? So this propagation, when reaches at the input of the system, it will have the same phase and that of the RF signal, and we will get sustained oscillation at the input port. Backward wave oscillator is essentially a traveling wave tube circuit, but the traveling wave here is propagating in the backward direction. Okay, and the biggest advantage of this particular tube is it is not used as an amplifier, but rather oppositely it is being used as an oscillator. And the biggest advantage over here is this particular tube can generate micro signal up to terahertz level. This is the biggest advantage. None of the earlier oscillator, by making use of a primitive microwave tube, is supposed to develop such a high frequency of operation. Okay, so if we need to develop terahertz frequency, so there are some specialized microwave application where the terahertz frequency are required. Okay, so for example, terahertz imaging application, okay, satellite imaging application. So at that time we need a very high frequency ranging up to several terahertz. So at that time we can make use of this particular tube as a source of a microwave signal or a generator. Okay, so I hope you understood the simple construction of a backward wave oscillator, which is okay. So with this we will proceed further to our last type of microwave tubes, which is very special in the construction and operation. Okay, so we cannot call this particular the last microwave tube as a hybrid tube, but altogether its working principle is different from that of the conventional microwave tubes, right? So we started with two cavity klystron as an amplifier, then we saw the reflect klystron, then we came towards the traveling wave tube amplifier, then we saw a very first type of tube which is utilizing the cross field for generating the micro signal, and that is a magnetron we saw. And after that, after magnetron, we saw today the first type of hybrid tube, that is a cross field amplifier. And then the second type of hybrid tube we saw, which is essentially acting as an oscillator, that is a backward wave oscillator. Okay, so let us go ahead to the remaining last type of microwave tubes, which is special in the construction, and actually it doesn't belong to either of the primitive family type of a microwave tubes. The construction and the working principle of this tube is altogether different from the primitive tubes. Okay, so this particular tube we call it as a gyrotron tube or gyrotron tube. So let us go ahead and see how it look like and how this particular tube operates and how it is going to be different from the earlier studied tubes, right? So let us go to the gyrotron tube. Okay, so the gyrotron tube is the last tube mentioned in our syllabus. Now what do is gyrotron tube and how it look like and how it is different in the construction and working. Okay, so let us go through the theory part first. Okay, so here gyrotron. So the gyrotron is a name of a device. Okay, so gyrotron is a class of high power linear beam vacuum tube. So this is, I will underline this term, it is a high power. That means this particular tube is used at a high power level. It is a vacuum tube, which is capable to generate millimeter level electromagnetic waves. Please remember, this is a very important statement over here, right? So there is a vast difference between the term millimeter and microwave. Millimeter are the microwaves or the RF signal which are beyond microwave signal, right? So if we consider terahertz frequency and even petahertz frequency, okay, so 1 terahertz we normally call it as a 10 raised to 12 hertz, or roughly we can say 1000 gigahertz. Okay, so with the rough definition of a micro signal, okay, so normally the micro signal we call the signal which ranges from roughly 3 gigahertz to say 300 gigahertz. This particular frequency range of the signal is normally termed as a microwave signal, right? The rough definition, or you can call it as a vague definition of a microwave signal. Okay, so any signal which is greater in frequency from 300 gigahertz will land up into a special type of a region we call it as a millimeter wave region. Okay, so any frequency, so here I write any frequency which is greater than 300 gigahertz, so that particular signal we used to call it as a millimeter wave. Please remember that millimeter wave are having smaller wavelength compared to microwave signal. Their frequency of operation is very high compared to microwave signals. Okay, so here you should know the difference between millimeter wave and microwave. Millimeter waves are the waves which are starting beyond 300 gigahertz and onwards. Okay, while roughly the definition of the microwave is the signal which exists in the range 3 gigahertz to 300 gigahertz. Okay, so here we are talking about the millimeter wave signal generation and not we are talking about microwave signal generation. Oh, here it is one thing very clear that the gyrotron tube is going to be a very special type of a tube which is actually used to generate and amplify the millimeter wave signal rather than a microwave signal, right? So it is actually going to generate, this statement is very important, it is going to generate millimeter level electromagnetic waves by cyclotron resonance of electrons. So this process is very important, please remember. So here we are not utilizing any process called as a velocity modulation, okay, but here we call it as a process known as a cyclotron resonance of the electron. Cyclotron resonance of the electron, this is a specialized process with which this particular tube is going to operate. In all earlier conventional tubes and hybrid tubes, we saw that their construction and working principle is based on velocity modulation effect of the electrons, right? So here in the last, this special type of a tube, the working principle of this particular tube is not going to be based on velocity modulation, but rather a different process, a different operation, we call it as a cyclotron resonance of the electron. Okay, and this cyclotron resonance of the electron is accomplished by using a strong magnetic field, right? So the output frequency produced will range about 20 to 527 gigahertz. See the typical output frequency generated by the gyrotron tube. So it will be typically in the range lying from 20 gigahertz to 527 gigahertz, and it covers the wavelength of microwaves up to the edge of the terahertz gap. So essentially these tubes are utilizing the principle known as a cyclotron resonance of the electrons in order to generate a very high frequency such that it is greater than the microwave frequency which lies in the terahertz region. The typical power produced in this particular range from tens of kilowatts, please remember here, it is again a significant sentence. The power generated at these frequency of operation. Say we are generating a frequency of 20 hertz to 520 gigahertz, and these high frequencies are again generated at a power level of few tens of kilowatt to few megawatts. So this is the biggest advantage. So at a such a high frequency level, we can achieve the signal at a very high power level ranging from tens of kilowatts to few megawatts is a very advantageous thing, right? So the gyrotron can be designed for pulsed or continuous operation. So here the pulsed operation or the continuous operation is the different things. The pulsed operation means there is a switching device. Okay, so in between the pulsing operation, the device is going to be switched on and off, and otherwise this particular device is continuously used in a continuous operation. Gyrotrons are used in a nuclear fusion. So the application where the gyrotron tube is used, it is especially used in a nuclear fusion research experiments, right? So why we use this in a nuclear fusion research experiments? In order to heat the plasma, and it is used in the manufacturing industries as a rapid heating tool in the processing of glass, composite, ceramic, as well as for annealing process. Okay, so in order to perform these operation, in order to perform nuclear fusion operation in the laboratories, in order to heat the plasma material, in order to heat the materials like glass, composite, ceramic in industries, we require a rapid heating mechanism. So for this particular purpose, we can make use of a very high frequency millimeter wave signal operating at a very high power level, and that can be conveniently generated by making use of a gyrotron tube. So what is gyrotron? Gyrotron is a free electron measure. Okay, so please remember this tube is a very different. It is an electron measure. Measure stands for microwave stimulated emission of radiations. Okay, so the counterpart, we already know the laser mechanism where we are going to make use of a light over there. But if we replace the light with microwaves, it will become a measure. So measure is nothing but microwave stimulated emission radiation. So the principal working of a gyrotron is based on measures, which generates high frequency electromagnetic radiation. So what the measure will do? The measure will generate very high frequency electromagnetic radiation by stimulation of cyclotron resonance of moving electrons. Okay, by making use of a strong magnetic field. So this is the principle of operation, how the gyrotron tube is capable to generate a very high frequency, and that is also at a very high power level. Okay, so it makes use of a measure microwave stimulated emission of radiation, okay, which is causing the cyclotron resonance of the moving electron in a strong magnetic field. Okay, the operation of a gyrotron tube is unlike conventional microwave tubes. So this sentence is very important again here. It is clearly stated as the operation of gyrotron is unlike conventional microwave tubes. So the operation of this particular tube is not same as that of the conventional microwave tubes such as klystron and magnetrons and so on, right? In which the frequency is determined by single mode resonant cavity. Okay, so a filament which is used in a gyrotron in the electron gun at one end. Now here we are discussing about the construction of a gyrotron. What the gyrotron consists of? See here the diagram is shown. We have an electron gun on the left hand side over here, right? So this electron gun is used to produce the continuous source of electrons. Okay, so a filament which is used in a gyrotron in the electron gun at one end of the tube, it emits annular shaped beam of electrons. Okay, so annular shaped beam of electrons, the annular shape means, so this is the linear beam of electron, this is a linear beam, we can show in a arrow direction. So instead of generating a linear beam of electron, the gyrotron will produce a beam of electron in the annular shape. Okay, so annular shape means in this particular shape, in the ring like shape. So the electron beam look like a spiral or a coil in the annular shaped structure. Okay, so it emits the annular shaped beam of electrons which gets accelerated by high anode voltage, and then this electron beam travels through tubular resonant cavity structure in the strong magnetic field. Okay, so here we are going to make use of this solenoid. So solenoids are nothing but a strong permanent magnets. Okay, so this annular beam of electron is passed over a strong magnetic field. Okay, so what will happen because of that? The magnetic field can be produced by making use of a superconducting magnets or strong solenoids which are surrounding the tube. This magnetic field will cause the electrons to move helically in the magnetic field as they travel lengthwise in the tube. So what will happen when the annular tube of electron, annular shaped electron beam passes over here? They will start moving helically in the magnetic field. Okay, so at this position where the magnetic field is maximum, okay, the annular beam of the electron radiates electromagnetic waves in the perpendicular to the tube axis at cyclotron resonant frequency. So what will happen to the electrons when they come in the region where the magnet is placed? The electrons will start emitting electromagnetic waves in the perpendicular direction to the beam axis, and these emissions, electromagnetic emissions caused by electron, is at a cyclotron resonating frequency. Okay, and these radiations will form standing waves in the tube, as which is itself acting as a resonant cavity. The electron beam is then finally collected at the collector electrode towards placed at the end of the tube. Okay, so here the main principal working operation of the gyrotron tube is how this particular tube is able to generate a very high frequency millimeter wave level signal. So here a specialized process called as the interference of the magnetic field with cyclotron motion of the electron is utilized. So what actually happening over here is we are going to make use of a source of electrons by making use of that electron gun. So this electron gun is going to produce annular shaped beam of electrons rather than a linear beam. Now these annular shaped beam of electron is passed over to a strong magnetic field. This strong magnetic field can be either produced by using a solenoid or by making use of superconducting materials. Okay, so what will happen when an annular shaped electron beam interacts with a strong magnetic field? The electrons in the electron beam, they will start radiating electromagnetic waves in the direction perpendicular to the axis of the beam. Okay, and these radiation are taking place at cyclotron motion of the electrons, which is higher than the frequency with which the electrons are generated originally, right? So here the emission, electromagnetic emission caused by these electrons, which stands out perpendicular in the direction of tube, are taken as an output through this window. Okay, and these frequencies, electromagnetic radiations caused by these rotating electrons, will find that the generated oscillations will be located in the millimeter wave region. Okay, and finally these beam of electrons are collected at the collector side at the output end. Okay, so principal mechanism of gyrotron is it is a making use of measure microwave stimulated emission of radiation. So how the microwaves or how the electrons are getting stimulated? The electrons are getting stimulated by means of using a strong magnetic field, and these electrons, when they start emitting the electromagnetic radiation, These radiations are taking place at cyclotron angular motion of the electrons, and the frequency at such an operation will be located in the millimeter wave region, and this frequency is very high, so the gyrotron is able to produce a very high level of frequency that is far beyond the microwave, as well as the power level associated with this millimeter wave generated signal is ranging from several kilowatts to few megawatts level. Okay, and we already discussed what are the typical application where the gyrotron tubes are used. Mainly, the gyrotron tubes are used in nuclear fusion experiments which are carried out in nuclear industries or nuclear laboratories. Also, as far as industrial application is concerned, gyrotron tubes are used in order to produce a very high level of frequency at a very high power level in order to utilize its heating effect for processing of a materials such as heating of glass, composite, ceramic material, and so on, right? So this construction of gyrotron tube, we saw it is altogether different from the construction of all other conventional microwave tubes. Remember that all other conventional microwave tubes are going to utilize a process called as a velocity modulation operation. Now here velocity modulation operation process is not used, but here a special process with the help of a measure, okay, and by making use of a strong magnetic field is used, and this particular gyrotron tube is going to make use that special process known as utilizing the cyclotron effect of electrons using a strong magnetic field, right, in the presence of electron beam. So this is a typical working of a gyrotron tube, the construction, working, and application. Okay, so I hope you understood the simple working of a gyrotron, and I also hope that you understood the basic principle, working principle of the all different microtubes and this gyrotron tube, and you also studied the difference of working principle between all of those tubes and gyrotron. So here with this gyrotron tube as a last part of our third module, all the different types of tubes we have studied over here, right? So initially we started with linear beam tubes. I will make a summary over here. Linear beam tubes. So the general classification of microwave tubes can be based on two types: linear beam tubes and crossed field tubes, right? Just I am making a list over here for summary purpose. So linear beam tubes and cross field tubes, these are main microwave tubes we studied over here in this particular third module. Okay. So in linear beam tubes, we saw the very first type of the linear tube, that is a two cavity klystron. Two cavity klystron, right? Then in linear beam tube, we go ahead and we saw the reflect klystron, right? Then we came across traveling wave tube amplifier, okay? And a very first type of crossed field tubes, we saw the magnetron, okay? So all these linear beam tubes and cross field tubes are called to be primitive types of tubes or the basic type of tubes. Two cavity klystron is acting as an amplifier, right? Essentially, reflect klystron is acting as an oscillator which generates a microwave. Traveling wave tube is essentially acting as an amplifier. And the first type of primitive cross field tube, magnetron, is acting as an oscillator. Then after magnetron, we started studying the hybrid type of tubes. Okay, so hybrid types of tube. Hybrid types. So the first hybrid type of tube, we saw cross field amplifier. The cross field amplifier is also known as amplitron. Okay, and the second type of a hybrid we saw backward wave oscillator. Okay, so backward wave oscillator is also known with the other name called as a carcinotron. And finally, special type of a tube we saw, special type tube, in which the working principle is altogether different as compared to all these hybrid and primitive types of microtubes. And the special type of tube we saw, it is a gyrotron. Okay, so essentially cross field amplifier hybrid type of a tube is used as an amplifier. Backward wave oscillator is used as a source of a microwave, and gyrotron also act as a source of millimeter wave as an oscillator. Okay, so all these tubes are either acting as a oscillator or amplifier for the given micro signal. They will either generate a micro signal at a very high frequency. The backward wave oscillator and gyrotrons are utilized to produce millimeter waves, while other are supposed to produce micro signal and their amplification. Okay, so with this discussion we saw each and every different types of a tube, its construction, working, application, and with some of the basic preliminary or primary tubes we have gone through certain mathematical derivations, and with the remaining hybrid type of tube and special type of tube, theoretically we studied its construction, working principle, and application. So I hope all of these tubes, their explanation is clear to you, and you have got the enough idea to understood the principal working of all these different types of tubes. Please remember, all these tubes are mentioned in our syllabus, and we will be more focused towards the preliminary or primary type of tubes, including two cavity klystron, reflect klystron, traveling wave tube, and magnetron oscillator. Okay, so these are more important tubes. So I hope you have gone through the entire lecture series for this third module over here. In our next lecture, we will be solving some couple of numerical example based on primitive types of microwave tubes. Thank you very much.